Oh my goodness, it has been an awfully long time since I have uploaded. Sorry about that, and hopefully from now on we can get back to the more frequent uploads and POVs and all of that good stuff, because I really missed it, and I'm sorry and I've missed you. But thank you to all the new subscribers that have been coming in regardless, who haven't noticed that I haven't been uploading. And yeah, jump down in the comments below, say hey, hi to me, and we'll have a conversation and tell me how you found me. I'd love to hear from you. For today's session, we are shooting on the Canon EOS R with the 24-105 f4L lens. This is like a favorite of the channel. I feel like a lot of you would have found me through shooting with this lens, and I took it out on this session today because I wasn't really sure what I was going to be capturing. I knew I was go out and shoot some street photography, but I didn't know where I'd end up, and I wanted a versatile lens. And this lens is the most versatile lens for street or anything. For example, here I'm shooting buildings, so I'm shooting wide at 24mm. But if I wanted to, I would have the option to zoom right in and go to 80 or 105mm. You know, you've got all these options. And I always say to people who are deciding what prime lens that they should buy, I say use a 24-105 lens. Take a few sessions out there and see what focal length you are using the most. So you've got that range there. So if you go back into Lightroom and you see, wow, I shoot a lot of 50, then you know that your next prime lens should be a 50mm. But alternatively, you don't need to use prime lenses if you don't want to. If you don't want that low aperture of 1.4, 1.8, even 1.2, if you're happy with an f4, then stick with a zoom lens, because you're going to have the most versatility, especially if you have one camera body. A 24-105 or a 24-70, invaluable lenses, and it will teach you a lot about your composition with photography, I think. But anyway, that's that little bit over. There's why I love this lens. But this car that I'm shooting here is famous around Norwich. I feel it's appeared on many blogs, many Instagram posts of people that live in Norwich. It's just a lovely colour, and I feel like it's always parked on the street, and it's such a nice colour palette when compared to the pink building that I was shooting a second ago. I feel like it would be the perfect picture if that car parked right in front of that building. I know it's double yellows, but I would love to get into contact with the person that owns that car and to style a shoot, because I think it would be really fun. I get this shot here, and I wish that the car in front wasn't there, because then I could have got the whole car. I wouldn't have had to chop off that bottom left bit. I also wish the scaffolding wasn't in the background, because the building that's there looks very old. I couldn't think of a better word. You know what I mean? It looks the part when compared to the car, so I really wish that the scaffolding wasn't there and a car wasn't in front of it. So after that little warm-up with shooting the car, I'm making my way more into town. Making my way downtown. I started off kind of more on the outskirts because it was a weekend that I was filming this, and I knew that town was going to be incredibly busy, so I wanted to warm up and be in like a calmer atmosphere before I really get into the groove of things. I love that guy's vibe, just the white shirt and hat. Loved it. So as I'm walking down here, I hear this guy speaking very loudly on the phone, so I decide I'm going to capture him forever with my camera. And I like that he's wearing a mask. I like that I framed him to the right. I love the colours in the frame with the green tree to the left, blue bar to the right. Overall, pretty happy with that for a warming up type shot. So here I'm at the Forum in Norwich, which has these amazing steps outside where lots of people just sit and chill, and I wanted to kind of capture that energy. You can see I was shooting at f11, which means I'm not letting a lot of light into the sensor, because obviously it's very bright, but it also means I'm getting more in focus. So although I wanted this man here to be kind of the main focus of the shot, I also wanted to add context to the background by not having it blurred out, but by having the view of all the other people that are sat there as well. Usually I always shoot wide open, and I do like shooting wide open because you get that bokeh, you get that nice separation from the background. But I think sometimes it's quite nice to have an f-stop that's closed. You've got so that's anything like here 5.6 or above. It doesn't always have to be 4 or 2.8 or 2 or 1.8. I think sometimes it's a stylistic choice to not shoot wide open, because I feel like lots of people do that now to kind of make their images look more impressive. I do it. I'm speaking about me. I think if I chuck on a 1.8 lens and get something with lots of bokeh, then it makes it a good image. That's not necessarily true. I framed this couple to the right of the frame again because I just really like framing things to the right or framing things to the left. I like compositions that aren't necessarily straight down the middle and an obvious way to frame things. You'll see that is maybe a theme throughout some of my work, and I think the next image I'm about to capture is also framed to the left. So to give you a little bit of an insight here, I was panicking a little bit being at this point in town because it's one of the probably the busiest part of town, because you've got the Primark there, which everybody goes mad for, and you've got loads of places to eat and to sit, and I'm not used to all these people around yet. Great for street photography, I know, but still got a little bit of that social anxiety because of COVID. But I think my next street session I won't be as nervous because I won't be leaving it as long, hopefully. So I see this woman sat here on the bench and I wanted to zoom in right to 105. I wish I got her closer, but obviously I couldn't zoom in anymore and I didn't want to get closer. But an okay shot. I feel like it was kind of busy, but it'll do. I'm not going to post it anywhere or anything. It's just a nice one to put in the video. So as I wandered towards the market, I heard this amazing band playing this really smooth jazz, and luckily for me, they were so good that they were attracting a bit of a crowd. Great for street photography, right? Thanks, guys. I believe the name of the band was the High Points Band. I will link them in the description below if you wanted to check them out. But I noticed through the crowd, this gentleman stood there with his walking stick and his cap, and he stood there for so long. He was just still and enjoying the music, and that really captivated me. I think I shoot him for a while. You'll see I turn away and then go back to him. But I just really liked that he was just stood there taking in the music, and it made me wonder, like, is he a musician? Did he used to be a musician? Is he experiencing something listening to the music that he hasn't felt in a while? Or like, what emotions is he experiencing? And I think that is why I love street photography, because you've got all these stories around you and it's your job as a photographer to think about these things and to capture them. Sorry if that came across sounding so douchey and pretentious, but that I'm telling you my thought process. I like this one a lot. 70mm, kind of zoomed into his hat and a bit of bokeh as well. So I walked around here and captured the guys. The guy on the left, he was the main focus, and I like that the green in the background was a really prominent colour. What I liked about this band is that they swapped around a lot. So the guy on drums here was actually playing guitar later, and I just think that's really cool to just be an artist who specialises in lots of cool things. So again, I'm turning back to this guy. Still stood there, still listening to the music. Is he waiting for someone? I don't know. I have all these questions, but he's really cool. And I like that the light was hitting his stomach. I feel like it really illuminated him. I added a bit of a radial filter to kind of make him stand out a little bit more. I wanted it to be subtle though. I didn't want it to be screaming at you to look at him. I just want you to be naturally captivated by him like I was. So I wanted to get more shots of the band, but I wanted to kind of frame them in more of an interesting way. So I wanted to kind of use the market stall to my right to kind of add a little bit of depth and to make shots not so straightforward, if that makes sense. I feel like anyone can take that kind of shot. I want to make it a little bit different if I can. And I just think that the blue on the right works really well with the colour of his cap. I think it complements each other very nicely. I'm happy with how this little voiceover is going, you know. I was worried to film it, I'm not going to lie, because it's been a long time since making content for my channel and doing a voiceover, so I've almost been putting it off. Like, I've had this video sat here edited for about 3 days, and usually I'd jump straight on and do a voiceover, but for some reason I didn't. I felt daunted by myself. So as I was walking down here, I saw this man coming up from the right wearing a Rebel t-shirt, with the Rebel badge from Star Wars. And I just loved his whole vibe, and I love that I got the market stalls in the background. It's f5.6, so The background wasn't necessarily blurry, and I like that because it added more context to the shot. Got this guy here, nice black and white. I felt like it worked best in that. Putting on my mask because I want to head into the market, and although lots of people weren't wearing masks in the market, they do ask that you do. So I like to follow the rules and to be safe as well. There was this kid in the market playing like peekaboo, so I wanted to capture that, and I really like that I just got his hands and his leg. At the time of taking the photo, I was hoping he would pop his head round, but I actually like that he didn't, because it kind of makes you ask more questions. Like, what does the kid look like? What's he doing? I feel like it would be too easy if he was peeking around the corner. Throughout this video, you might see me checking on my left hand, and that's because I burnt it very severely when filling up a hot water bottle. So poured boiling water all over my left hand, and now my hand is looking a bit grim, to be honest, but we move. I love capturing people walking down the stalls in the market. I just feel like it adds such a natural frame to them. You've got walls either side, you've got these murals, and I captured this guy here. I like that his mask is under his nose. Obviously he's not wearing it proper, but makes for an interesting shot. I think it's good for documenting people's mask wearing techniques during the pandemic. Speaking of the pandemic, I hate to bring the vibe down a little bit, but I just hope that you're all keeping safe, keeping positive. And what's your situation like where you are? Let me know. I'm always interested to see how other countries and places are dealing with it. UK is apparently going to be restriction free in a couple of weeks, and I don't think we're ready, and it's a pretty scary thought, but life has to start to move on at some point, I suppose. There's so many interesting people to capture around the market. I know I come here all the time, but honestly, if you had this indoor market in your town and it was a playground for street photography, wouldn't you go there all the time? So I saw this guy and I really wanted to, this is quite cropped in, I wanted to just frame him because he had the cool look with the newspaper in the back pocket. I wanted that to fill the frame basically, but my legs weren't quick enough and I didn't chase him in time. I will be haunted by that shot that I didn't get for a while. I wanted to position myself kind of in the middle of the pavement so I could capture people walking towards me, get more of people's facial expressions, and I captured this banker to the left. I think he was a banker, speaking on the phone, and I really liked his look. I think I used a radial filter to brighten up his face a little bit, but again, I like how he's framed to the left. So I went back to the buskers because I wanted to experiment with low shutter speeds to capture motion and energy, and I thought that this would be a good chance to try it out. So I wanted to keep the band still, so it couldn't be too much of a low shutter speed, but it had to be low enough that the people would blur as they were walking by. So I think I captured that quite well. I was quite happy with that for my first time kind of experimenting with it. I feel like I just wanted to put across the energy of the town, so hopefully that worked and you liked it. I've been seeing people experiment more and more with low shutter speeds and blurring people to capture motion and everything, and I find that a really interesting concept because I've spoken to a few people who used to exclusively shoot film, and they say that they never used to experiment with low shutter speeds because they needed the photo to be perfect every time. They wanted to freeze the motion. They didn't want to play around with that. And now we're in a digital age where we can experiment and change all these things, but still also get photos that we can capture in the motion, and it's not a one-shot thing. We can load our cards with all these images and not have to worry about wasting film. I feel like it's leading the way for people to experiment more. And I'm not saying that people didn't experiment with film photography, because obviously they did. But I'm just saying the consensus from people that I've spoken to, they didn't really want to waste film by trying these things. And just being in this digital age is just giving us all of this freedom. But also, that being said, I would love to try film photography because I feel like it would better me as a photographer, because you only have these few shots and you're really focused on the composition and all the settings and the imagery you're getting. So there's definitely pros and cons to both. And you may disagree with everything I've just said. If you do, let me know. Let's have a discussion. I love learning new things. And as I said, I don't shoot film, so I don't want to speak for film photographers, and I also don't want to speak for all photographers that shoot digital. Just rambling here as a voiceover to accompany this video. So I wanted to capture some shots here wide at 24mm, and I just was waiting for the perfect kind of subject to walk by, really. And I saw this guy walking up with his bag and his headphones and his mask, and I'm really happy. I just feel like these shots came out really nice, and I like that they're at 24mm. I feel like when shooting street photography, I don't shoot at 24mm a lot. When I'm shooting buildings, I do, but it always gives such an interesting look when you're at 24mm. And here's the polar opposite of a shot at 105mm. And again, that's why I love this lens, because you've got all of the popular focal lengths in one. You've got 28, 35, 50, 85, 100, 105. You've got all of that to play with. I like the vibe of this photo here with the way he's kind of sticking his hand out on the Protect Norwich sign. Again, he was quite interesting. I like that he was quite smartly dressed. So as I was waiting for more subjects and standing by the band again, I saw this man leaning against this wall eating some fish and chips. Very, very British. And I decided to kind of capture a mixture of verticals and horizontals and just capture him, really. I feel like in this session I was capturing a lot of like horizontal photos, which is so odd because usually I'm all for the verticals. I'm always kind of got that Instagram social media aspect in my mind, but for this session I found myself shooting horizontal for most of it, which is quite interesting. And maybe that's because I haven't really been very active on social media or YouTube or anything like that, so my mind wasn't really in that kind of frame of mind, to put it badly. As I was walking in the arcade, I saw this woman to my left with her bag, and I kind of tracked her and followed her in a non-creepy way, I promise. And I saw her kind of stand by a window and appreciate this art that was on display, and I kind of just wanted to capture that, really, because it was just this lone piece of art in the window and she was just looking at it, and I don't know why I found it so interesting, but there's something about the way she was tilting her head and holding her bag that I found quite an interesting bit of subject matter. So here I parked up for quite a while. I knew I wanted to frame some subjects in between these two pillars with the yellow shop in the background, but I was just waiting for the perfect subjects. I quite like this one because you've got two people kind of meeting in the middle on different planes of the floor. Is that a saying? But it wasn't quite what I wanted, so I did wait for a little bit longer to just wait for something good to come. And it paid off because I captured this lovely woman in her beautiful red dress, and it just popped against the yellow, and it just shows that if you wait a little bit, something will come and you'll hopefully get something that you're interested in. So not to walk away yet, I wanted to see what else I could get, and I just got this shot here of this person walking through, and I really like that their shirt matches the building behind as well. For those set of shots, I changed my AF method to have all the AF points in the middle because I knew that's where my subjects were going to be framed. So I wasn't on that continuous, always hunting around and finding subject. I framed it, and you can see it on the screen here. I have that square in the middle where I'm telling the camera that's where you're going to focus, and I think it worked really well for that shot in particular. So as I was kind of heading back home, I saw this couple standing there kind of discussing where to go. I think they were a bit lost, and I just captured them because I really liked her blue dress. I liked that they were wearing the same kind of mask, and I feel like it was just a couple of nice, simple images to end the session on. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. It's been nice being back on the channel. As always, if you like this video, make sure to like. If you're not subscribed, then go ahead and subscribe. Remember to be kind to everyone, be kind to yourself, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!